Hello, good morning, and welcome back to the Boardroom, where, as always, we're having fantastic conversations with some of Malta's leading business minds. And this will be streamed back on WhosWho.mt, Malta's leading business portal. Now, this morning, we're going to be having a conversation about business, entrepreneurship, and a really exciting company in Malta. And to join me for that conversation is Matthew. Do you know what, Matthew? I give up. I'm not even going to try and say your surname. Narusevicius is what we're trying to say.
Good job.
It was good?
That is good. Good morning, Jim.
Good morning, Matthew. It's great to have you on the show. You are the managing director of WFDM, which is such an exciting company. But let's start, Matthew, with the correct pronunciation of your surname, please.
Narusevicius.
There we go.
Yes, exactly. That's the most correct.
There we go. Okay, I'll keep practicing. So, Matthew, thanks for being on the show with us. It's wonderful to have you here. You are a very exciting entrepreneur with a very exciting company that you're leading. Perhaps we can begin there for anybody that doesn't know you, doesn't know what you're up to. Maybe you can give us an introduction to what you've achieved so far in your time in Malta and even before.
Sure. So basically, I'm from Lithuania to start with. I moved to London when I was just after the school. I was thinking of going to university, but ended up just finding a job in hospitality because it was quite okay paid. And I was like, it's the nightlife, the meeting the people, different experiences, also learning the language. And I basically worked there for like close to 6 years until I started my university. So I did accounting and finance degree as well as I did economics. That was my part-time degree. Was looking for a job in London. I think it was close to a mistake that I decided to go to Malta for a holiday. I think it was like, we just kind of booked it, just kind of like a joke. We came to Malta, really liked it here, Mediterranean climate, good weather. Got back to London, graduated in university, was looking for a job, really kind of, how to say, got burned out from this kind of London madness, the rush and everything. And just one day, I just packed my luggages and I moved to Malta, where I started working for Apex Fund Services. That is the fund accounting company. I worked there for a year, and to be very honest with you, I think then I said to myself, enough is enough, because I can't do Monday to Friday. I can't have a kind of, let's say, fixed salary. I really want to work extra because every single day used to do like overtime, working until 7, 8 o'clock in the evening, just trying to achieve more and more, trying to meet the targets as well on time and everything. It was always about more. So basically, that one day, just after my father turned 50, my family arrived to Malta, turned 50, and I just basically gave my resignation. And then I started doing food photography for Londoners, the British pub, the Londoners in Calcutta. I was doing food pictures for Daniel, some social media marketing. Soon later, I think I did it for like a month or two. I realized that, I think that doesn't really pay for my living. So I went to real estate. I did some real estate in Malta. And then one day, I remember after closing a deal in Marsa Scala, I found, basically, I was drinking coffee in this place, and the owner approached me and he said, I was like full suited on. He approached me and he said, "You look like a businessman." And I wasn't a businessman. I was, grinding my every single day trying to rent and sell, properties in Malta, which it was booming. Like the industry was great. I was doing quite well. And he said to me, maybe you would be interested. And the thing is that I worked in London opening the restaurants for somebody else. And I always dreamed about having my own. So basically, I opened Form & Fork soon later. It was second vegan business in Malta. We did extremely well. And then I sold the company. But this is where the WFDM kind of starts, because if not Form & Fork and the growth of Form & Fork, because we grew so we had an outlet in Marsa Scala, and then we opened another one. We purchased Grassy Hopper. So it was in Gzira, the legendary vegan business, I would say, the very first one. And we got approached by a food delivery company called Volt. And they basically approached us, wanting us to become one of the restaurants, basically, to put on the platform because they were coming to Malta. And it just happened to be that this person was also Lithuanian. And we had few beers. I remember I invited him over to the restaurant. We started speaking, and I think kind of like, how to say, then I kind of like, I think the whole thing kind of like, not the entrepreneurship started, but I think everything kind of started from that moment where I said, you know what? What about if I would actually join from the logistical side for you guys? Because you guys, you don't do the logistics, you are the technology. And he said, listen, let's have a chat. And this brings us to one point that when I was having meetings with them, and it happened in my life before. That's why to be where I am and do things what I do now, it was the always like stopping. It was my age, very strange. But like I pitched before like several businesses before, and every single time people couldn't, how to say, relate and accept the fact that I was young. It was like the age was always coming in. I was asking for um, business loans. I was asking for investment for, and it was always the age. And it was several different projects, but I think at some point I just gave up. And it was having meetings with Bolt was very similar because I had meeting with Bolt owner, and actually he was asking, "Do you have enough of connections in Malta? Do you have enough of capital?" And I had, I didn't have capital. Like all the capital was invested to Foreman for the marketing, for the promotions, and just to grow. And actually, we were just open like the second outlet. And obviously, I have to say that sometimes you have to fake it till you make it. It's business. And basically, I managed to break in with one of the big players in Malta who has the power and who has the connections and wealth behind it. So basically, we're two to start Volt Malta. Um, and the story of WFDM. So basically, we incorporated the company. I got married in Vegas with my wife, and we went to Mexico for our honeymoon. And basically, COVID started, and we got stuck in Mexico. And I get a call. I think it was 5 o'clock in the morning in Mexico, and I get a call, and the managing director is telling me that we need to have a meeting on Zoom. And I'm like, sure. I just put my swimming trunks. I go downstairs, to get the Wi-Fi connection, and I open the camera, and there's like whole board. Everyone is on, and they say, "Listen, we're launching." So basically, I started WFDM, and obviously the very first kind of, let's say, project of WFDM, which was the logistics for Vault food deliveries from Mexico, having 5,000 euros in my pocket, basically pocket, in my bank account, where I needed to purchase the motorbikes to do the logistics on the phone, calling Gordon. Thanks to Gordon, he helped them. On the finance, which I never had in Malta, everything was new. I didn't even have driving license for motorbike. I never sat on the bike. In reality, I was like, how to say, I really wanted to try. I didn't believe that this will be a success because we had in Malta, we had time to eat. And time to eat, I mean, as much as they tried, I think it was like me, for example, I waited for pizza, I think from Amigos for like 2.5 hours. And I think everyone just kind of gave up on these, So even like when I started, I was like, is this worth the investment? Maybe I should just focus to my food business, like it's going well. Anyways, COVID hit, and obviously COVID was something our lives were changed. The way we ate back then. And to be honest, I think Malta really, really needed these two giants, Bolt and Volt, to come and change the way we do things, the way we buy flowers, the way we do our daily shopping if needed, or weekly. So, for example, now together with Volt, we're really pushing on Volt Market, which is the next thing to change the way we shop, because like the traffic, the stock in the supermarket, so there's always something missing, So what Walt is trying to do is to basically to fill the niche, and this is what I really like as well. Finding something which is like let's say it's there, but it could be done a lot better. So, for example, like WFDM, one of the things. Now I'm a bit jumping, and I think at the very end you're gonna say, Joe, that I don't have any more questions.
I'm enjoying listening to this, right? This is a really exciting entrepreneurship journey because, again, anybody listening to this who's an aspiring entrepreneur themselves, they know that it doesn't always happen the first time. They know that you have to try different things. They know you have to take risks.
You see this?
I see it.
That represents me. So there's a lot of errors. Windows 98, I think, or 97, and it's done by an artist from France, which actually represents the people who try. You know, you fail 1,000 times, it works once, and you get hooked on it. Obviously, to get hooked, and so basically, business is like an addiction. You know, once, and especially if you like opening things and diversifying the risks, you get addicted to it, and you really want to do more and more and more. The thing is, and many people would say, "Oh, he's a jack of all trades." No. So basically, I found myself in the position where I think I was. So I was like, oh, let's do this, let's open that, let's do this, because with a very small capital, if you have the right management, if you have the right team, if you have very important is to have like how to say that, like I'm an accountant basically. I finished accounting. So it's very important to understand the financial part. It's very important to understand how much this will cost. It's very important to do R&D, the research and development, to do the market analysis, and then you kind of like, you can think about these other businesses. But what I did is what others, like for example, never did that to me, is quite a few businesses what we have under WFDM. Like I do find people who are really passionate about that industry. So for example, let's say there is a real estate business which is coming very, very soon in Malta. This is something what actually no one knows about it. Oh my. I'm telling you something what no one knows about it.
Ooh, an exclusive. Let's go.
Okay, so basically, like the gentleman who will be joining business. So basically, he has passion for property, and we both worked as waiters, both of us as waiters in Malaysia Player 9 years ago. Because when I arrived to Malta, I found this weekend job because I was so bored. Because I ended up staying here for a month and a half instead of 2 weeks. So I said, no, why not? Why not just to kind of work a bit? Why not? Anyways, and we know each other for many years, and basically he managed to find me a property, and then I said, listen, what about it? You're so passionate about it, and I really want to go back to real estate. And he was really hooked as well, and he said, yeah, let's do it. So having my connections, like my IT department as well, and of course, yes, there is a capital investment towards it. We already found an office, there is branding going on, there is website being done. We both are coming to this joint venture as partners. Why? Because I'm not a jack of all trades. That's why I'm finding, like, let's say, key people in certain industries, and then I'm seeing the industry itself and where we can do better. That takes us, for example, to Digirilla and PR Factory. So these are two products from basically which went from WFDM under our company called LSR Marketing. Why? Because I was super quiet for like past 3 years. I was literally grinding 16 hours. We began. I was basically interviewing people between 3 and 6 o'clock in Zira restaurant. Between like my working hours in the restaurant as a waiter, everything started there. Then I rented a garage in Birkirkara. I did work in construction a bit when I was 15, 16 in London. So I had small experience on how to make partition walls. So I bought some gypsum, rented a van, basically made construction in the office, plastered the wall, literally put three piles of wood, some screws, my MacBook, and I started WFDM basically from the garage. And I kind of stayed in that garage, and I really liked it because it was my little bunker. You know, like you go in and you're working. Because company was growing, like, so the first year we did 1,200% growth. Then the year two was 800, and year three is 800. So basically now in Malta we are employing 220 people. With budgeted growth this year to reach 350. So again, this is something what really depends not on the business. We do have loads of jobs, you know, which are still yet to be filled. But the thing is that it's very difficult to find talent. This is something why WFDM is really looking abroad, you know, and we're very much closely working with the local authorities as well to understand, you know, what we have to do, you know, to get these people here, because in some cases we needed to wait for 2.5 years to get someone here to Malta. But everyone knows this issue. I believe it's a very much now very much talked thing, and every single business wherever you would go, you would see that there's a lack of staffing. You know, basically this takes me to a thing where I was really enjoying my bunker days in the garage. And the thing is that we used to interview a lot of people. And I remember one gentleman said to me, he said, Matthew, you are dressed so well. Because I was wearing a shirt, sometimes even tie, even when going to the garage. And he said, you should get an office. And for me, it was like being an accountant, for me, it was an extra overhead, an extra expense.
Yeah.
And I just said, you know what? I'll get one. I think it's time. So basically, we ended up finding an office in Tashbish, which I really love. Tashbish for me was something which, I don't know, the postcode of Tashbish is just something. It has some good vibe here. I don't know. It's really nice. Yeah, it's close to Marina. Very well priced as well. Well, being a real estate agent back in the day, I think it helped a bit to do some cold calling. And basically, what happened then with WFDM was that so later we realized that we're not logistics company, even though the specialty of the company was to provide couriers for Volt, and we're growing massively. We understood that we're a recruitment agency. We do recruit people. We interview thousands of people. So what we did, we changed the memorandum of article. We accrued a license from DIR, and we started basically working with local companies such as, well, the public transport, Palazzo Parigi, some local individuals as well. And our scope basically started really changing. When I say scope, it's the variety of industries which we're stepping in. So, for example, I can still say like WFDM still would mostly focus for logistical stuff. That would be truck drivers, that would be delivery, taxis, you know, all of that, because we do have now 4 years of experience in that, so we kind of know inside out this industry. But hospitality as well, because of my background. Because as much as the company is growing, I'm a micromanager. Micromanager, I want to be everywhere. I want to know absolutely everything. I go to the garage and I do change tires sometimes, or I pull the wheel down. It's just because that I think that the CEO's or managing director's presence is very important to the whole company. And the thing is that in WFDM, the way I manage the company and the way I train our heads of departments to basically treat our staff is through a method which I never got to be, how to say, treated by.
Okay.
And that method is family.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, in the office, like we do have now 14 people working. Most of them do come to my birthday, my son's birthday, my daughter's birthday. Everyone knows my family. I know their families. We share food together. You know, we do have lunches together where this is something what you don't get let's say in this level in a corporate office.
Mm-hmm.
So, and this really helps because people do appreciate that. They feel safe because family is where you feel safe. And some people would say, "Oh no, if they get lazy." No, they don't, because family, everyone is one. So basically, it goes throughout the whole company. I mean, you can be a cleaner or you can be a director. Actually, one of the directors in the company, he's my best friend, and our families are very good friends as well. Our wives are, they're good friends, and most probably my son gonna try because he has two girls. So most probably my son gonna attack both of them. Similar age, but they're still kids. Anyway, it's just a running joke of a father.
That you're very close. That's wonderful. And so if you look now at the company and how it's changed in a very short period of time, what surprises you most about the setup today of the company and the different areas that you're into? Is there anything where you look at your company now and you think, wow, I can't believe that we've managed to achieve that?
This is what my wife is saying. Like, look, everything started because of her, I think, because she was the one who was pushing me. Because I didn't believe in it at the beginning. I said, listen, this food delivery, no, because basically why I keep on saying food delivery because this is something what obviously allowed us to invest and open another business. Because this was something what this revenue generate. Because you do need something which would be generating your revenue, so that would turn to profits, or at least would have a facility to basically take that money and invest to something, right? She says like, look how much, like, look what is done, like you did so much. I say that we did so much. I always include her, because obviously, as I say, family gives you this sanity and gives you the, you go home and you feel happy. And then the next day when you go to work, you're rested. You can do those 16 hours and you can go home and again, it's like the resting time. I don't see that I did much, and this is my problem. I think I believe that we can do a lot more because there's a lot there are a lot more opportunities in Malta. We are also thinking outside the box and outside Malta. We do have a company in Cyprus where we employ 60 people there. But I believe that there's a lot more. Why? Because like most of the businesses, most of the project was happening, everything was incorporated last year. Basically, we were collecting the team, like let's say for Perfect Me or Digirilla, the team started a month ago. So this is our digital agency and PR company because I couldn't find a company which could do my personal PR and the company's PR. So what I did, I gathered the team. So now we are a family of 5. And this is, I believe, it's gonna go strong because we just launched a product yesterday. Most probably half of Malta, maybe even more, seen it.
Yeah, I want to hear more about that, Matthew. Tell us about the product you launched yesterday.
That's dope. Dope. So what is dope? Dope is a new era business card. Basically, I mean, everyone has a most probably those who are in the business and even not. They do have business cards, right? So you do a print off of minimum 100 or 200. Some people spend €5 per business card, and it just happens that the mobile number changes, or you change the address, or I don't know, you do rebranding and you change the logo. What you do, then you go back to your printer, and you print more and you print more. And you spend money. It's waste. It's just kind of for me, like I was looking for a solution. I was doing the same thing. I was printing my business cards in Dubai. Obviously, that's still a lot cheaper comparing to Malta. And then we moved from the garage to the office. And I needed to reprint the cards. And I was like, for the whole company, that's a big overhead. I would rather spend that money on, investing to one of the businesses. I was looking for a solution, and I got to know about a company based in Lithuania called Dope. And basically, it's a business card which is NFC basically based technology with the QR code here. But the beauty and the which kind of like brought me in this project was that it's not only NFC. NFC technology is quite old; it's 10 years. but there is an application. And basically with this, it's like you can have bamboo, you can have virtual cards, there's metal, gold, yeah. You just basically with one touch on the phone, you get somebody else's details of whatever they want to share. You know, if you are influencer, you can have, for example, like two profiles. You can have one which is a personal, one is which is like your professional. So it's very cool. You can share whatever you want. In the app, there is a chat as well, which you can talk. If someone gives you the good old paper one, you can just scan it. This is the future one with what is coming, but you can just scan it. It saves to your library. There's so many things that kind of brought my attention, and it's very important that it's very cost effective because you pay only once. Then there is the subscription basis, which you get a lot more additional features, which is €2.99 a month, which is quite peanuts comparing to what you get, and that it's sustainable. You know, if you get the bamboo one, so for example, I had the bamboo one. It's made out of bamboo, so we actually save, we save planet, which is really good. So I really like that project. We basically we purchased some shares and we launched it in Malta. It was yesterday was the launch. It's fully live now. I invite everyone to actually think green and think tomorrow because what our kids gonna be left with.
Absolutely. And in fact, I was going to ask you about that because sustainability has always been something close to your heart, right, Matthew? So what are you doing now from a sustainability perspective?
It's the corporate social responsibility as well. I mean, we do have around 300 vehicles in the company, and we do damage planet. I have to admit. I mean, we do use petrol and diesel cars. We are trying to move to hybrid, but every little step what we do within the frames of sustainability is a help. And if everyone would at least contribute a little bit, that would make a change. So this is a good start. It's a really good start. And the question what you asked, yes. So it was I believe it was the Form and Fork thing. That's now the sustainability. But this is something what it happened. It was a great project. I think with that project, I really understood that I have guts to actually be an entrepreneur, where I can take a project and I can really kind of nail it. However, like that to be said, so kind of like I left the hospitality where I started WFDM. I was in India, and when I was traveling, actually, they have these roadside cafes. So imagine a road of six lanes, right, towards Taj Mahal. Middle of nowhere, you have this small truck, and people stop, and the small truck, the vendor, is selling types of food. Sometimes it's like chicken tikka, or they have some chapatis, you name it, some dal, whatever is there from like locals. They kind of bring it us, and the food is delicious. The food is something what like they do prepare on daily basis. It's fresh, it's local, and I really loved it. And the thing is that hospitality will still be in my heart. It's something what I really like. I'm a foodie as well. I love food. I love cooking as well, and I love Malta for that. Because it's very much, there's a lot of Italian aspects to it. So pasta, pasta is love and pizza is love. So, anyways, and this basically takes us as well with WFDM. When I opened it, I saw that we do employ a lot of people. The most common nationality is Indian, and I love Indian food. Who doesn't? And we basically opened Daba. So the very first Daba, the roadside cafe, as it would be in Malta. And we did that, actually we opened it 3 years ago for the purpose to give free food, daily basis, biryani, to our drivers. We were doing that, and then we opened basically for public. So even up to now, like it's running, it's very popular joint, and basically we're subject to expand on that. I believe in only food trucks now. Why? Because the fact of selling out is great. Selling out means that you always have food fresh. You always keep your stock low, and this is what you will not find in the restaurant because they do have big freezers. When you have a food truck, you don't have freezer. So everything has to be fresh, everything has to be daily. And this is something where we, with the company, we're actually going a little bit as well on expansion side because, like, again, This is where the entrepreneurship comes. Let's say Malta and Maltese really like Asian food. There's something Asian food is like it's crazy, and it's interesting. Uh, so what I found was that Thai food is something what is a bit missed in Malta. When I say Thai food, I'm talking about real Thai food, real tomka soup. Or there is one place, but one is not enough. So basically, we are subject to open our Thai food truck where we're gonna be doing 4 different soups, 2 different noodles, and I think 2 different wok rice. So it's just kind of finding that niche, and I do have passion as well for it. So combining two things, experience absolutely, accountancy, and this is kind of like where we look into it and where we kind of start from.
Well, it's very exciting. I mean, listening to your journey, it's just crazy everything you've managed to achieve. If you think back from when you arrived in Malta and you're starting and you're grinding in entrepreneurship, and just as a, as somebody starting out, and now everything that you've achieved. So what's next? When you sort of go to sleep at night and you're imagining, where you're putting your focus and how you see things growing over the next few years, where are you putting that time and focus?
To be very honest, I did a small step back with all of the businesses. What was incorporated last year, we actually I stopped a little bit and I said, listen, it's a bit too much. It's like I do want to spend time with my kids as well, and my wife. That's my best friend as well. So it's just kind of like I say that the biggest focus now goes to recruitment, because every single industry is really suffering because there is a one big pool where you get the genuine recruiters and then you have not so genuine. I'll not elaborate on that. I think everyone knows about it. Full media about it, and you get into the pool where the genuine recruiters do suffer of rejections, of delays, of as I was saying, waited for someone for 2.5 years. The fairness in the process is basically that's what my focus now for this year I think gonna be, is to actually get to the next level. We are already working with other countries such as Poland, Lithuania, Germany. We started United Kingdom as well, market, and Gulf countries. So I'll be focusing mostly on recruitment. We are opening several other businesses and several other projects where I'm going to be like consulting, let's say, because we do have key people. So my mind is at rest. And this year we will be, so this is something where as well no one knows. I'm giving you too many secrets. Basically, I kind of like started not valuing my time. I always valued my time, but since I don't have much of it, I said to myself, I'll be taking what are the biggest projects and something what would really challenge me. We will be trying to step into medical marijuana world, which is the pharmaceutical industry. So from the whole story, what I was telling you, Joe, basically, you see, we have those industries where it's like the full diversification of if something stops, there is something which would still kind of carry the company, at least for a period of time. So the very last thing was what kind of would really complete the puzzle would be the pharmaceutical industry. It's extremely difficult to get in. It's very sticky business, meaning that there is not a lot of information. Even the lawyers which are consulting us, they don't know much because it's very closed market. And medical cannabis, medical marijuana, is something what is really upcoming. Most of the governments are supporting this because obviously the future is recreational kind of medicine. That's the way we see it, and that's the way I believe most of the governments are now saying. Italy, for example, neighbor of Malta, they're very like lean and friendly to it. Malta has issued, I believe, now 2 licenses, but these companies didn't even started anything. They just got licensed. So I believe the authorities are not really happy about it. And us as a company, we actually, so basically the whole thing, I kind of like now I'm writing the business proposal, the meeting the builders and everything. We are looking into this as we would try to cultivate that in Malta. So again, creating jobs for locals because only locals know how to grow and
Mm-hmm.
on top of greenhouse, but still we have different conditions. So employing local people and actually paying taxes to treasury, which are very high, and basically having the very first own local product, which would be being sold mostly to abroad countries such as United Kingdom, Germany, Australia, New Zealand, and it's something it is a very very big project. This is something what it's only me on it just yet, and there's a huge need of capital, of course. So we are in the kind of, let's say, position speaking to Bank of Valletta, speaking to some local entrepreneurs, investors as well, because obviously the investment is significant. So this would be, I think, if I would be successful in this, if I would get the license and if we would build the premises, I think then I would say, I think I did.
I don't know, Matthew, just from speaking to you this morning, I don't think that would be it. But I think it would be an amazing major step in the next phase of the business. And it's all so exciting. It must feel like a whirlwind when you look back on the past few years. Just to round off today, what would be, what do you hope is going to be the legacy of the business that you've set up?
Legacy of the business. Well, I hope my kid's gonna take it. I mean, I don't mind living living in Malta. I don't mind retiring in Malta. It's lovely. I mean, I would retire in Gozo though. Sorry, guys. Gozo is a lot better for retirement. But the legacy is basically to grow internal products, and I mean, that's what most of the businesses do. You make something and you sell it. Mm-hmm. So this is I think one of the things the legacy of the whole thing would be that you expand so much that then you sell it. And then you drink pina colada in Mexico.
There you go. And it all goes back to Mexico and your honeymoon and COVID. Right. Well, it's a great story, and it's lovely to help you tell that story, Matthew. Congratulations on everything you've achieved. I certainly look forward to see what's coming next from you. Thank you so much for being on the show with us today. And thank you to all of us who've joined Matthew and I for this conversation on the Boardroom as always. We've loved having you, and we look forward to seeing you on the next episode of the Boardroom.
Thanks, Joe. Thank you.